This is my solution to the problem I was having trying to figure out an easy way to build a bandsaw mill. This will be a small hobby mill to start with. This drive unit will be the one I install first. The way I'm building my portable mill, I'll be able to upgrade the entire power plant drive unit for the bandsaw blade just by detaching the frame on the outside of the gantry, or the trolley that the head will be mounted to. I took this from a go-kart, little 5-horse motor originally, and had the variable speed belt drive torque converter, I think is what they call it. No need for a fancy pulley system. It's already on the engine that I pulled from the go-kart, which is now a 6-horse engine, so that should give me the power to run at least a 1 1/4 blade with this axle. I've got a keyway, a 1-inch axle with a keyway all the way to here, and it's 6 inches or so without a keyway, and then now this way to the hub is another section of keyway. The go-kart axle came with a sprocket and a disc brake. I'm going to deploy, use these on both. Use these both on the bandsaw mill. Also took this from a riding mower. It's a 1-inch with a built-in key, so I slid it up on here. The reasoning for it, working out this way, is I wanted to put my engine as far away from the wheel as I can, so I can have it on the operating here to keep the engine away from the bandsaw, so the controls are easy access. I'm going to have a fairly large trolley. Like I say, I may upgrade to a 20-horse or a bigger motor, or possibly even PTO drive it and have a log trolley move back and forth versus the saw head moving back and forth, so I could run it off with a tractor PTO. Grinding stone here outside the pillar block and outside the frame. Engine will be mounted right about here. Front that way, rear that way. Torque converter on the engine will belt drive the torque converter to a chain which comes off that shaft down to this. I'll release the brake, throttle up. That'll engage the torque converter here that runs the chain that goes to that, and that'll turn. A lot simpler than having a lever you have to pull and then hope that your belt, it's just a much cleaner system. I'm going to call these my PTO pulleys. It'll give me at least the 2 different speed I would like to have for my belts, so that I can possibly run, say, power steering pump or a cat head system with a small cat head, or a larger one, rope drive the whole trolley back and forth just by pulling one rope or the other, or pulling a lever that's attached to 2 ropes and then pushing the lever, pulling or pushing the tension and loosen one rope, and then vice versa to make the whole thing work. Along with age comes wisdom, or ideas on how not to work so hard. bad health also. Makes it a requirement. The nice thing about the go-kart, it would run 20 plus miles an hour with a smaller tire. That is a 12-inch wheel with, well, I think it's a 4.80 tire on it. With that 12-inch wheel, I can go one size larger on that wheel to something like a 21-inch tire diameter from this 19-inch tire diameter, which will increase the speed to something near 30 to 35 miles an hour, I'm thinking. Which, if you calculate the feet per minute, that'll come out to roughly 30 or 3,000 feet per minute. That's about the minimum blade speed. The ideal blade speed is 4,000 feet per minute. So I have the option to put the larger tire on this 12-inch wheel or go to a 13-inch wheel. And I think there's two different tire sizes I can go with that to possibly get up to around 24-inch diameter, which should give me a 40 mile an hour speed on a go-kart if I put those tires on it. Point is, 40 miles an hour is approximately just or close enough to 4,000 feet per minute, which is ideal for a bandsaw blade. Now, the only thing I have purchased for my sawmill at this point is that $20 hub. Got that off the internet. You can get them on eBay for like $33. I found another site. This one was like $17, $18 plus shipping. Come out to around $27. So it saved me about $6 not buying one off of eBay. It is a 4-inch 4-lug with a 1-inch bore and keyway. Easy enough. So far my sawmill, I have less than $30 in it. Time I get possibly another pulley to mount on here. Mount my grinding stone on this end. Buy 2 pillar blocks. I'm figuring I'll spend about $40-50 on the 2 new pillar blocks. That one I've had laid in a pile of junk. That bearing is just a go-kart bearing. It's about the same size, but I want to go with the pillar blocks for safety reasons. The extra pulley might be the one to run to a power steering pump. I will be using a hydraulic cylinder with a 2-foot stroke to do the lifting. Now the 2-foot stroke will be doubled because I'm going to run a chain, like some kind of chain that works off a sprocket or whatever, over a sprocket over the top, which will give me a 4-foot stroke for my head to be lifted up and down. It'll lift it up and down 4 foot. Now, like I say, the cat head for 2 size cat heads, a slower moving one for cutting, and on the return I'll have a higher or a larger spool for that. Plus the up and down, I might be able to operate this thing from a chair. Some of the other implements I'm designing may allow that. This is the simplest solution I could come up with to actually build a sawmill that my age and health would allow me to operate without spending a lot of money. Old go-kart parts, a couple of pillar blocks I need, another $50, say 30 on that, I'm looking at 80. 2 blade guides and 1 1 1/4 or 1 1/2 inch saw blade measured to fit is going to be about $40 for that. So I'm looking at about $200. I think I'll have $300 invested. I've got everything else I need: welding rod, cutting gas, a lot of metal. I've been scavenging up every piece of metal I could find ever since I can remember, which ain't a long ways back sometimes. I'm thinking I've got a half a trailer axle I'll put over here. This is my drive unit. Bands will go around the two, around the drive wheel and the idler wheel. The gantry will roll back and forth over the log, and the head will come up and down to give me the board thickness I want to cut. I also want to build a log trolley so I can move the log back and forth, as well as the head trolley for the gantry. I believe I have a pretty good plan of action. This project has been in the planning stage for a couple of years, on and off. Mostly off, but I want to start selling some wood. Maybe one of these days I'll build me a cabin or something with the wood I saw with it. Ain't no telling how long that's going to take. It's a lot of work. If all goes well, in the next couple of months I'll have the power plant mounted on a frame that I can bolt to the head that will go up and down inside the gantry trolley that will pass over the log and do all the cutting. A little bit at a time. Lack of funds always makes things seem to drag out. Can't hardly wait. I always wanted a sawmill. This might be just for a hobby, but then again, if I can cut enough wood to build a shed or a barn or even a small log cabin, I'll be happy. One more spin. Spun it the wrong way, but it should be going like this, because I want the sawdust going that way. But it's coming together a little bit at a time. I will be moving these around wherever I want them later, and adding extra implements if I so decide to do something else with it at the same time. Could put a log splitter on it. Anyway, thanks. Later.